Line plot is beautiful. Have you seen many dashboards without a line plot? A line plot is going to be your default visual for continuous data over time. What is continuous? Theoretically, with continuous data, you have an infinite number of possible values between any two given points. I'm going to launch Jupyter Notebook by finding a terminal on my machine. I'm going to increase the font so you're able to see. I find that the fastest way to learn Jupyter Notebook on my machine is to type a command Jupyter Notebook. If you wish to close it, Control-C. Let's relaunch it one more time. Jupyter Notebook. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new notebook. And now I'm going to increase the font again so you're able to see. I'm going to import the MatPlotLib library. Import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, just like I did the last time. If I wanted to add a header to my notebook, switch the type of a cell that you have from code to markdown. And now hashtag space simple line plot. Shift enter to run a cell. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a list to hold a number of good movies that I have seen in a year. So number of movies, let's say 1, 2, 4, 6, 5, 3, 2, 4, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Shift enter to run my cell. I'm ready to create a line plot. So plt.plot. If I wish to control my x-axis, I have an option to add a container with x-axis values here. So I can say a range of values from 0 to 12 for my x-axis, and then for my y-axis, the coordinates are going to be number of movies. Let's give it a shot. There it is. If you're not seeing your line plot at this point, I would recommend a couple of different solutions. The first one, you can say plt.show. That should guarantee that your line plot is now embedded in your static notebook and it is visible. Another trick is to add a line of code that is a magic function. MatPlotLib inline. So if it's MatPlotLib inline, you should only add this line once per notebook. But with plt.show, you might keep calling this function in every single cell that generates a visual. All right. Here is our first plot. Now, if I wanted to add a second line, how would I do it? I'm going to go ahead and create a second list. Call it number of jokes. So in my second list, I will have the values of 0, -1, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, and 11. Shift Enter. To add a second line to my visual, all I have to do is to call a plot function one more time, and this time with a number of jokes. So, Shift Enter. I'm getting an error message. X and Y must have same first dimensions, but have shapes 12 and 11. You need to have the length of the list for your x-axis coordinates the same as for y-axis coordinates, because for every point that MatPlotLib will attempt to draw, it will need both an x-axis and y-axis coordinate. So I might be missing an element here in my number of joke. So let's try this again with the right number of elements, and now for every point I have both an x and y axis values, so this time I'm able to see 2 lines. I love my 2 lines, but right now I'm not sure if blue line is movies or jokes, so I would like to add a legend to my visual. To add a legend, I will need to add one more line of code, plt.legend. The first argument is going to be a list of labels. So the first label is going to be my movies, and the next label is going to be my jokes. The second argument is going to be a location for my legend. I'm going to use the value of 0, and then we'll discuss what it means. Shift Enter. Brilliant! So the blue lines is for movies, and the orange one is for my jokes. I'm never going to remember exactly what each one of the location codes stands for to place my legend, but it's easy to look it up. You just Google MatPlotLib legend location codes, and here they are. Values from 0 to 10. I have the option of locating and placing my legend on upper right, left, center, lower center, and so on. So MatPlotLib matched my first label, my movies, with the plot that I drew first, and my joke label was matched with the plot that I drew second. I might decide to display grids on my visual. Is it on the list of best practices? Not necessarily. Some people will consider it to be clutter. But if you do decide to add grids, how would you do it? I'll take this block of code, paste it into a new cell. I'll keep the title, and now I'll use the exact same object, axis, to set my grid to tree. So ax.grid. If I set it to true, I will see the grids display. If I set it to false, I will clear them out. MatPlotLib allows you to control the appearance of each line. You can simply Google to see what line styles are supported. Here's a few options: solid, dotted, dashed, and dash dot. So let's try dotted. In my plot function, I have to add a new parameter. Line style is equal to dotted. Now, for dashed, I have to try a couple of dashes. So again, line style is equal to a couple of dashes. My other options is dash dot. Let's see what this will look like. Dash dot. Or solid. It's just a single dash. Needless to say, MatPlotLib also supports configuring a color for each one of your lines. I will simply use a simple string to indicate the color of my lines. It's sufficient for my purposes. So again, I'll use a plot function and parameter named color. So color for my first line and color for my second line. Here's a collection of various colors I can choose. Maybe B for blue and R for red. B for blue and R for red. And here are my two colors configured. You also have the option of configuring the marker and marker size for each one of your data points. So let's add a few more parameters. Marker. Marker size. Let's make it fairly large, set it to 20. Again, marker and marker size. To see what kind of markers are supported, simply again Google what are the various options that are available to you. I'll try out a diamond marker and a plus marker. So D for diamond and plus sign for a plus marker. And here's my markers. Overwhelming. Should always set the label for both the x-axis and y-axis in your visual. You can either use PLT alias to do it, or you can use your axis object. So why not use my PLT object this time? Set X label to month of the year. And set the Y label to number of jokes, number of movies and jokes. And there we go. Now my axes are labeled. Next, I would like to add these little labels to the chart to add helpful notes to my user. So What I'm going to do is to use PLT annotate function to add spring fillings label, budget concern label, and life is good label with the help of PLT annotate function. So notice that each one of my labels has X and Y argument. These are the coordinates of where my text will start, and then the text will wrap to the right of its starting point. So finally, you have the option to save your visual in a file, such as PNG file, for example. PLT save figure method will help you to do that. If you just specify your file name, it will be saved in exactly the same directory as your notebook. Here I'm using PNG format, but you can find out exactly what formats are supported in your system. In order to do it, start by getting a handle on your figure object. So fig is equal to plt.figure. And now print fig dot canvas dot get supported file types. So get supported file types will get you a listing of everything that's available for you on your machine right now, such as JPEG format, for example, PDF, TIFF, and so on.